Hello. Is this working? Hello, my name is Helen Murray, and I have lived in the proposed TIF'ed area of the 39th Ward, North Mayfair, for 30 years. And I'm representing myself here today and also members of the North Mayfair Improvement Association. The association planned a community meeting last spring to get input from neighbors on uses for the property at Foster and Cicero. The alderman and developer were invited but did not attend. There was also discussion about traffic issues, which is the subject of this statement. Residents shared ideas with the alderman after the meeting, and no TIF was mentioned. The September community meeting was the first time residents saw development plans and learned about the TIF. When attending the September meeting, people were very surprised to learn that a TIF was being proposed. We were all surprised that our prosperous area would be the site of a TIF fund. Like many of my neighbors, we thought TIFs were supposed to help blighted areas, which we don't really consider our community, but real estate's pretty hot there right now. I'm happy for development and thriving business, but I am not clear why our tax money should be used to help fund a mall on a prime piece of real estate. How this will improve the community, how will the money be administered, what type of reporting or accountability can we expect if a TIF is started. While we have many questions like these, my focus here today is on traffic, something that is a long-time major concern in the area. With expressway access in both directions, traffic will skyrocket when this development is built. Traffic greatly impacts livability, quality of life, safety, and the desirability of neighborhoods. None of these issues were addressed in September, but have been brought up in many other public venues by residents. The problems are not new and will become worse and more dangerous with this development. Anyone who's had to cross Foster to Laval Woods, Gompers, or the picnic area, or make a turn into traffic knows it is literally life-threatening. Cars travel at speeds of 40 to 55 miles an hour despite lower limits, while people cross the street to catch buses, go to Little League games, access nature, or get onto a bike trail. Children and adults have been injured here and even killed. These are some of our concerns. First, there is proposed a four-way stoplight to enter the development using the northbound Foster off-ramp from I-90-94 as one of the lanes of traffic. This stoplight is just 10 car lengths from the Cicero intersection, which is already extraordinarily busy. Those exiting the expressway southbound at Cicero have 10 to 15-minute waits to make a left turn at Foster and Cicero now. This will only get worse. Second, Foster narrows under a viaduct just east of the proposed development and is the location of serious accidents every year. This will, we believe, become more dangerous with increased traffic. Third, the impact of traffic on neighborhood streets in North Mayfair.
Thank you, Ms. Murray.
I have two more short sentences.
Time has.
I see. I just want to say I've lived there for 30 years and I didn't know until 2 days ago all this was happening, so I don't think there's a lot of people in the community that still want to hear more about this.
Thank you. Ms. Lisa Hoffchild.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Hi, my name is Lisa Hoffchild, and I'm a North Mayfair resident. I love my neighborhood and I love my city. I've been an officer for the North Mayfair Improvement Association, our civic, which has been around since 1929. I'm a founding member of Friends of Palmer, the 501c3 that works for the betterment of our schools.
Excuse me, you're going way too fast. Just slow down.
I've lived in neighborhoods all over the city, and there's a statement right here, but never in a more cohesive, caring, stable, and highly engaged place than North Mayfair. We know and like each other here, we work together, and we pay attention to what's going on. Many of us felt more questions were raised than answered by the presentation in September. In fact, you all got a much better presentation of Alderman Lorino's rationale for this project than we did. None of that was presented to us. We thought we were going to learn about a new development on the Sunstar property, but a TIF was announced. Budget numbers were projected in small type, while pictures of the development were large and glossy. It was a lot to absorb. The alderman promised us she'd post the presentation on her website when someone asked, but I followed up 3 times by email and twice to her office, and the person, her staffer, looked me in the eye and said, "I'm sorry, that's not going to happen." Frustrated, I mentioned that I might post the problem on a social media site, and I left. I didn't post that, but miraculously, the link did appear. We think constituents deserve a much better and more open process. $2 million has been promised to Gompers Park as part of this TIF, but $2 million coming from a developer who's going to get an extraordinary TIF gift if this is approved is problematic to many of us. In a best case, when would this be available? If early in the TIF, our taxes will be paying interest on a loan to provide it. The field house needs investment, but why should it come from a TIF and not from the budget where our taxes are supposed to go? So we want a better description of this TIF and how it makes sense. Right now, we just see it funneling taxes away from things that matter. We wonder how 60 million plus is better managed by an alderman today or 23 years forward who can disperse it with little to no oversight than it is going directly to the entities the money was originally destined for and awarded with transparency and right. We want to have accountability. Many people who care weren't able to be here, but they're responding via our change.org petition to delay the vote. We have more than 100 signers in just several hours. And they're also providing support via the Foster Eden's TIF Watch Facebook page. This community is paying attention and appreciates your respect for our right to a truly open process. We'd like this 3-month delay so we can ask questions and have them answered in a public forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tresser, Tom Tresser.
Yes. Got a statement for you? Good morning, members of the Chicago Community Development Commission. My name is Tom Tresser, and I'm the Director of the Civic Lab and the lead organizer of the TIF Illumination Project. I come before you to urge you not to approve a new TIF proposed for the Foster and Edens community. The TIF Illumination Project has been asked to present at 63 public meetings since 2013 in front of over 5,000 people. We've exposed the impacts of 141 TIFs across 35 wards. Commissioners, the taxpayers do not like TIFs. They do not support the private projects they fund. They worry that the city has been showering their property tax dollars on insiders, donors, to local politicians and clouded developers with no oversight, evaluation, or recourse. Since TIFs came to our city, they've extracted over $7 billion in property taxes. Where has all that money gone? We need a full and detailed accounting. There are no public records for the first 17 years of TIF programming. For example, in 2016, Chicago's TIFs siphoned off a staggering $493 million in property taxes. At the beginning of 2017, there was $1.4 billion in property taxes sitting in TIF accounts. Today, you're being asked to rubber stamp yet another TIF. It would be Chicago's 181st TIF. This one from the Mayfair area of Northwest Chicago. You're being told that the TIF will help fund another special private project from a wealthy and successful developer. You should know that Michael Nzinga, a principal with the developer's company, the Jaffe Companies, has donated $1,000 to 39th Ward Alderman Margaret Lorino in the past year. You're being told that the community supports this project and has weighed its merits and defects. Nothing could be further from the truth. The residents of the 39th Ward have not been told the truth about TIFs and how they take money from our public schools and other essential services. And they most certainly have not been given all the details about this proposed TIF and what will happen to the tens of millions of their dollars that will be extracted. There are many questions here, Commissioners, many concerns. I urge this body to listen to those concerns and to heed them. Do not approve this TIF today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dresser.
Issue of Palmer Elementary School. The Palmer Elementary community raises a number of important issues, and I want to thank all of those attending this hearing and previously bringing these matters to my attention. Unfortunately, I think for a number of reasons, which the Department of Planning can go into further detail, this particular TIF designation will not be able to fulfill the needs of Palmer School. I can, however, report that Palmer has received $14 million for a new roof since this project has been announced, and discussions continue to address the needs for an addition to Palmer School and a new turf field. And I'm confident that working with the Palmer community and the local school council, the Chicago Public Schools, and Mary Manuel will be able to accomplish our goals for our local elementary school. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Commissioners, questions, comments? Commissioner Button.
Good afternoon. How were the TIF boundaries determined? They were determined based off of eligibility factors of being able to be eligible. So we did want to make sure that we had Copper Spark within there. That's why above the northern portion, the woods, that actually is one pin, so that's why it's so large up there. But then when we're reviewing, looking at the commercial corridors along Cicero, Elston, and Lawrence, that area looked to qualify, and they qualify for.
So would it be fair to characterize the areas within the district as being more commercial versus residential?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes. Can you tell us about the amounts that are to be allocated to the parks and what type of improvements or the amounts that might be?
It's been shown that it would be $2 million up front from the developer if the project goes through. So Copper Spark has a framework plan of all the different projects that need to be done there. So the field house, the fields, the courts, there's a lot of different things within there, so the $2 million would go ahead and help with some of the projects there.
Thank you.
Further questions from commissioners? Commissioner Butler.
I just want to make sure I'm clear. We are only approving a TIF district today. We are not approving any particular development or developments. Thank you.
And there, further clarify,
Sure.
before a project comes with that level of specificity about traffic and the park, there will be additional opportunities for community input?
The actual deal will come
And
back
if
to.
there's any actual deal, not, I mean, I know that there's been a lot of discussion about a particular deal that we have no information about, so there will be, people are talking about a delay, but there, by definition, there's a lot of time between now and the presentation of the specific deal.
Correct.
For the benefit of court reporter, that was Commissioner Rhodes. There being, I'm sorry, Commissioner Curtis.
While there isn't a specific project that's being discussed currently, there is a developer that is being committed to, or is there a specific developer that we're working with?
Yes. That's in, this specifically is for a TIF designation. There is also a deal in process as well. That's later on. We'll be coming back to CDC for that.
Thank you.
Any further questions from commissioners? For the record, we are maintaining our quorum. The first item of business of this reconvened meeting is to call this item for a vote. The resolution before us recommends approval of the redevelopment plan for the proposed Foster Eaton's Tax Increment Financing Redevelopment Project area, recommend designation of the area as a tax increment financing redevelopment project area, and recommends adoption of tax increment financing for the area. Do I have a motion? Okay, so moved by Commissioner Joe. Okay, do I have a second? Okay. As required by our bylaws, I will now call the roll. Commissioners in favor of the motion signify by saying yes or aye. Those who are opposed to the motion signify by saying no or nay. And at this time, I will in fact call the roll. Secretary Ward.
Aye.
Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Buford.
Yes.
Commissioner Butler.
Yes.
Commissioner Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Delgado.
Yes.
Commissioner Riefman. Commissioner Rhodes. Commissioner Roldan is not present, I'm sorry, and Commissioner Newsom votes yes. Okay. The motion at this point is carried. Thank you. Commissioners.
Lovely.
At this I'm going to call the next series of items for business.
Congratulations, you've been TIF'ed.